I put out goals, and I think I saw a TED Talk with you talking about that, like getting all the things that you want. And I think anybody that goes out and sets goals and then accomplishes them realizes that this isn't it. This isn't the way. There's nothing in goals, because goals
nothing in goals, or did the goals also pull you along the journey?
There's nothing in goals, because goals are always going to be in the future. And so therefore they're never in reality. And once they become to reality, you realize that they're no longer a distraction. And so you get there and you feel like, I need another distraction.
Right, okay.
You know, so yeah, I have goals, but my goals they're a little bit different. My goal is to be my best self every day. Because we have two choices: we grow or we die. That is the change that the universe is telling us. You're either growing or you're dying, and nobody wants to die. And so we need to continue to stress ourselves, to challenge ourselves, because all growth happens through stress and challenge. It's how life emerges.
It's a weird dichotomy, isn't it?
It is a weird dichotomy, but if you want to...
Because stress and challenge implies almost a goal, because I want to do this thing, but we want to also not be goal-oriented, right?
In yoga, it's a balance of the idea of santosha, which is contentment, and tapas, which is your desire to give your best. So when you learn those two things, when you learn to be content with who you are and at the same time give your best, you'll find peace.
Right. And is that something that's never attainable for a brief moment, something to dream about, or something that yogis can do?
It's an interesting thing that you said attainable, because that has the idea that there's something to obtain. And that's, as soon as you think that, you'll never get there.
But if we want both of those things at the same time.
That's the other one, want.
Want.
You know, the Buddha said the root of all suffering is wanting what you don't have or not wanting what you do have.
Okay.
So.
But if I go to practice and I'm thinking, you know, you just mentioned these two practices.
It's
hard to identify them and not want them, right?
It's not the desire to it. It's more like a drive just to give. When you give something, you don't want anything in return. Not when you're truly giving. We've become a society of takers. We treat everything as resource. Nature is a resource. And so we just take from it and we don't give to it. And we think that this is that something to obtain. Obtaining is taking. You know, we're getting something from it. And then we carry that on to the relationships we have with other people, with our friends and our family and our loved ones, and we take from them like they have something to give to us, and we define this as love. And we think that it's other people's jobs to make us happy, and really all it is attachment. There's no connection there. When you start giving and stop taking, stop trying to obtain something, then you start being. And that's really what yoga is, and that's what truth is. It's about being. You don't have to do anything. It's simple. And yes, there is that, like, I don't want to die, and I want to grow. And in that, and I'm subject to this as everybody, I don't want to die. I know I will. I'm more okay with it now than I ever have been.
But now yoga also looks like a physical practice. And when I go watch people doing the physical practice, they're trying to do certain things. So kind of by definition, I do have these kind of micro goals. Now, I can go in there with a giving mentality of, you just said those two things again, where I'm going to do my best and be satisfied kind of thing.
Right. Well, the defining yoga again, so everything that I say about yoga will slightly be untrue in a sense, but it kind of helps us to understand. Yoga is not something that you do, it's not something you obtain, it's not something you go to, it is a state of being. It's you realizing the truth. It's a word that describes it. And at its root, from Pali, it means use, or to yoke, or to bring together. As there's not two, there's one. Everything else that we do that we call yoga are tools that we use to obtain. And it's just like you use any kind of tools to build a house, or bake a cake, or paint a picture. It's the tools that help us to bring us to that point, which ultimately is here. You know, yoga is the journey that brings us to the present moment, where you've always been. But sometimes you have to go over there, and you have to go over there, and you have to go over there to realize that you've been here the entire time. It's how we understand things by the opposite. Just like we need light to understand dark, we need there to understand here. It's
and the tools themselves are some of these physical practices?
Yeah, physical practices, because the mind and the body and the spirit or the nature are one.
Right.
And so we use the mind to understand the connection to the other two. We sit down and we meditate and we use the body to understand the mind and the spirit. We use the mind, we sit down and we meditate to understand the body and the tendencies of the body.